for the Tibetan monks to visit Charlottesville a little over a year ago. We finally received confirmation a short time ago that they would be available. I never gave up hope that we would be able to host them. Chris and I exchanged countless emails over the course of 10 months, hoping that we would continue to make a connection with the monastery. In addition to student life and campus engagement and the humanities and social science departments, we were able to make this happen. We couldn't have done this without our Charlottesville community. There are over 180 Tibetans in the Charlottesville area. Many of you may not know this, but the local Tibetan community has welcomed the monks since last Sunday. They have been invited to local homes for dinners and blessings. In addition, they have provided lodging for them all week. Without these efforts, we could not have done this with PVC alone. The Tibetan community has continued to extend their homes, donations, food, and hospitality. It truly takes a village. I have had the pleasure of organizing hospitality for the monks while they have constructed the Mandala. It has been an honor to feed them and learn about their spirituality and traditions. I am still waiting on the Tibetan butter tea recipe that they have promised me. It was delicious. That was how we kind of met. We exchanged a few hugs and embracements, and then they offered me the butter tea, and it was fabulous. This week they have enjoyed Indian, Turkish, and Ming Dynasty's special menu. Today their cuisine was made by the PVC culinary students who prepared lunch for them. For each meal, they extend gratitude for any offering. I am beyond blessed to have experienced a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a part of this event. I hope they will consider the invitation to come back. It might be a couple years, but they know that I want them to come back. I do have a gift for them. So this is for their road trip. They will be leaving us and I believe heading to Northern Virginia. So this is baklava that was prepared, and I picked it up for you guys this morning. I'm really going to miss you. It's my pleasure. At this time, Interim Dean of Humanities, Kit Decker, will share a few words.
Thank you. I shouldn't be doing this. I think our professor of Eastern Religions, Dancing Thompson, who made this possible, should really be taking the microphone, but he asked me, so I'll indulge him. Mandala is a Sanskrit word, of course, that means sacred circle. And what a beautiful reminder this sacred circle is of so many of the truths that we already know, but they do bear endless repetition. And this is a reminder to sit, to breathe, to be present, to share, to hear the sound of your own breath, to hear the sound of those little chakpurs scraping away, and listen to silence. And when the frantic pace of our lives means that days are long and somehow years are short, we need to take that time. The time to see different perspectives, to see how we are connected and what it is that we share, to step away from the absorbing whirlwind of materialism, consumerism, and politics of selfishness. And did you notice what was at the center of the PVCC Mandala? It's not a country, it's not an individual, it's not a dollar sign, it's a dove, with or without an olive branch, it's a symbol of peace, of hope, of new post-diluvian life after the flood. And ask yourself how many people in Virginia and our neighboring states need precisely that right now. We're reminded that peace is not an accident. It's not a mere absence of conflict, a status quo, but it is something that we produce through an intentional practice, and it is an act of daily devotion. We see how grains of sand, in addition to color, shape, pattern, can represent the world in both physical and spiritual planes. And we can reflect on how it is possible to see the world in a grain of sand. I don't know if any of you saw Professor Callum Bentley zooming in from the Japanese science vessel last week, but he was part of an expedition inspecting cores drilled from the Earth's crust, pulled up from 7 kilometers below the surface of the ocean. They pulled out these slender tubular samples of mud, minerals, and microfossils, and they are reading the movement of the Earth's tectonic plates by analyzing the shifting sands that lie beneath the sea floor. So this mandala made me think of how geology, art, geometry, mathematics, symbolic language, philosophy, religion, history, ecology are all vital enterprises. It made me think of the Ouroboros, that ancient image of the serpent devouring its own tail, that represents an unbroken circle, the eternal cycle of destruction and rebirth, the interconnectedness and infinity of the universe, even the possibility of infinite growth and scalability of blockchain. So please imagine how any calm, any happiness, any peace that you have found in the creation of this mandala, how it can spread out from you to those around you in an endless ripple effect. And I'll close with a quote from Jorge Luis Borges about human striving and belief in the face of impermanence and the constancy of change. Nothing is built on stone. All is built on sand. But we must build as if that sand was stone. And didn't you just love that little deer?
Hello. I'm used to talking into the microphone. For those who don't know me, I'm Chris Swanson. I'm a faculty member here, and I teach French. One of the other roles I have at the college is to organize talks and events that expose our college community to things outside our community, to the bigger world. So we invite speakers to speak on internationally themed topics, and we bring in cultural events like this. And I have to say that this sand mandala is probably one of, if not the most appealing, visually appealing events that we've had here. And it's been a pleasure to have them. I mentioned that I organize things, but I cannot take credit for this. There's so many people to thank, people that made this happen. And I start by thanking the monks themselves, because they were flexible and they were able to come on the dates we requested. So thank you very much. Yes, you're welcome. And of course, Danton Thompson, our instructor of Eastern religions here, he was the impetus for getting the monks here. And if you were here on Monday when we had the opening ceremony, he divulged that he was in fact part of this group at one time. So that's impressive. Thank you. And of course, Mary Evelyn Sellers has done a yeoman's job of getting this off the ground, keeping it going, morning till night. She's everywhere, making things run smoothly. Thank you very much, Mary Evelyn. You heard all she did for the lunches, the food. Yeah. Thank you to our president, Jean Bunyan, who was very supportive of having the monks come, spend 4 days with us, take over the space students usually sit in. So thank you to her. And thank you to the entire college community who throughout the 4 days were so respectful and appreciative of all that was going on here, the work that the monks were doing, again, from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. And now, I need my paper. I have the pleasure of introducing the Venerable Geshe Chodan. He's going to speak. Yeah. He's going to speak a little bit about the dissolution ceremony that you're about to witness. Just to tell you a little bit about him, he's a highly qualified Buddhist teacher and practitioner. He was born in 1981 in exile in India. He joined the Geshe Chodan Monastery in 1990, and he received his full ordination from His Holiness the Dalai Lama in 1998. He has done much studying and exams, and he received his doctorate of philosophy in 2009. He's taught Buddhist philosophy and meditation practices to the public in Asia and the West, and he's participated in interfaith discussions with spiritual leaders from various religious traditions. So now we will move on to the ceremony, and Mr. Thompson is going to be the translator for that.
Thank you very much.
아니 마바사말라 이게 되려셔야 스타트리 데라 마부스 아니 여샤 아니 참말로 나서 아니 소바만이 난자 마마자선 아니 투지시 쇼요스
Good afternoon. How are you, everyone? Well, it's such a great pleasure and to see you all here. What a gathering. I'm just so impressed. So thank you so much for coming. And on behalf of Tashi Gomang Dharma, and I appreciate your support and join us in today's closing ceremony.
아니 미스터 건지다 아니 로추초리다 아니 지금 아주 되게 좀봐 아니 되게 딱해서 참이 맞을게 사찬들이 아니 그거 이게 아니 그 맛이 이만 더 받으시라고 참아 그거 하려고 그때는 이게 하려고 그래서
I would like to express my most profound special thank you for the president of the Piedmont Virginia Community College, and as well as the dean, Dr. Tucker, and the coordinator, Mary Evelyn, as well as Professor Swanson, and the rest of the whoever from the Monday morning who come in and supported us, showed up and give us the welcome. So we had just such a wonderful time, and the food was excellent. And in Tibetan language, actually the speaker Geshe Chodan says "Ha lewa," "Ha lewa." You can imagine it's almost passed out or knocked out in amazement. Okay. And so, yes, indeed, we really had a wonderful time, and this is such a great energy, and so the space you provided, and not just opportunity, but the space and your enthusiasm, everything that made this possible. So we deeply, very appreciate it.
나는 주머니에 내 문에 들지다 단디 뒤름기나나야다 이그마부나 노출기야가 수바스네 이 정신도 마음을 드리노데레스 이 카투라 만저 있는 지금 잠니 시디 요아가니다 손타가는 메라게 기부지샤다 누구조저 디글라 보조자리서 비교도 수와다 그지 맞다 잠만 야로 지디 디지털 모노시아도 보고 좋아하다 만들이야 이제다는 나자치는 소리였어.
So we know that in this very moment, we are in the world is very troubled because the certain part of the world and war is going on. People are suffering and people are scared of, and because of the both man-made and as well as nature-made disasters. So for that reason, and driven by the Buddhist principle, loving kindness, compassion, and we create this mandala for peace. and dedicated to the world peace and the peace of the community as well as the individual self.
뭔지 뜻이더니 다음 안서 뜻이라면서 이 단다 담보들의 기부 문제시 유튜브에 되는 처빙이 단다 조직보다 아니 지금 심 가서 남도 맞고 이제 한지 단원 간에서 또 세도 제세 원달라 유튜브에 아니
So now I'm going to cover two topics. Number one, I'm going to talk about give you a very brief explanation about the Santa Mandala, the Mandala of Peace. And then second, I'm going to focus on today's closing main topic, that is about how to overcome the stress. Right? Before Geshe talk about Mandala piece of Mandala peace and a piece of Mandala, is anyone from my class? I've been selfish. I wanted to know because I sent an email and said, make sure you're here. I'm going to give an extra credit. Okay, great. All right. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you. 아니 당가서 제시 기만 쓰려나 담보 기만 때라 아니 잠링기 콜라치게 티게나 차지고요 자디 시디 손딱 시디 합샤세디 티게 손딱 있는 잠링 시디 쪽이요 같이 티게 니바텔랑 가서 출룩다 중이도 거리 이 지당가 tundra세야 되겠지 뭐 라고 출룩 tundra세 하지겠지 tundra세야 되지 그 자와지 받아 근데 이게 비차니 아니 출룩다 중이 되면 tundra 손제 찌그레스 이 유고들 그걸 천천 지나는 건지 천동 먼저 근데 지금 매 라단지 같이 이문 천동 먼저 어떤 잠벌인 것도 다 머링자다 먼저 출릉자다 먼저 망고지가 와 그래서 참아야 편들 라단 찍듯이 있나 맞은 잠니 시대 요나 니버 친구 통해서 참 끼쳐지도 참 통은 도자 찍듯이 있는 거 시대가 또 중국 기침부리에서 천탁지에서
Okay, now if you can, take a close look in the mandala. I'm going to start explain from the center and the center, and then first the circle and the third, and then so on. Total, there are 6 of them. And as always, to most of you, except for those of you are far away. So the center, the image is represented by the white dove. That's a symbol of peace, and peace of the world, the earth, and so that's about our intention and the effort we need to make, and the goal we need to achieve. That is the world peace. Right? And the peace starts with the individual self. Right? Each of us can contribute and to the world peace as a whole. And then the second reign, as you can see, there are 12 different images represent 12 different world living religions. And as a Buddhist, as a religious person, as a the followers of spiritual tradition, we deeply believe the primary cause of the happiness, or the root cause of the happiness, is solidarity, harmony, right, and loving kindness. So among the world, the troubles of the world, we know that one trouble we humans have to deal with is more or less or directly, indirectly related with the religion. So therefore, we as Buddhists, we put it as 12 symbols, and with the great intention and effort we are willing to make is bring all the religious traditions together, right? And jointly working on the world of peace. Because with dialogue, through the dialogue and through the understanding of each other's religious spiritual tradition, and then we believe at least we can reduce one primary cause of the suffering that's related to religion or because of religion. And then in the third ring or the circle, you can see there's images of the individuals or hands in hands. So this hands in hands means that we humans as whole, as one. Right? We all belong to this one only home, that is the earth. And in this home earth, we are share the same space, same time. So therefore, and if we closely observe our need and other people's need, what we want, other people want. We share the common interest. So therefore, in order to achieve what we want to do, that's the peace and the happiness and prosperity, then we have to hand in hand, working together.
Tene di jalo ne ngazu ruma dilo di jonga sheda duishe yergon don shi che sa chu men lo shi dilo veres di chidan lu ge jumse chik de ngazu chik ro so cha kare de ne choni she bala jonga shela med ma wa duishe de med ma wa chis ta por ta ani ta di ka de ta sa chu men lo ji ba mo ji yong de jonga ji ba mo ji yong de to so yin na perance de she ni cha chi du su me lo shi ta sa ji wa ma di to ta ta pa ji sa ram ba ji yong ngazu 남녀는 지금 쇼게 같은 도마도는 원단 도마도는 다 직단 대시 로가 봤어요. 이제 요 그런 게 버티고 천도 지금 그랬어. 이 겨울로 그걸 충전되는 몇도 청아 지금 이까지나 맞아 진짜 시대가 나다. 아니 시대가 딱 맞아 어째 는 잠내 뒤통나 시대가 때 맞아 남도 망고 지어랬어. 그래서 맞아 초밥을 했지. 이게 친구 임바 가지는 맞아 참에게 대라 지금 90도 초밥을 와대. 이 지슨 잔도 와이나 맞아 잠내 시대 용하라 니가 친구 통해서 특히 친구 이번 천도 같은 초밥을 되지 yes.
And the circle after that is, you can see that's like a fire, mountain, and clouds, and water, and all these are represented the 4 proto elements: water, earth, and fire, and the air, wind. And then there's also the 4 elements represented the 4 different seasons. The reason we put those 2 different forms of folders of the elements and the seasons there is because we are deeply dependent upon and with the 4 elements and also the change of the 4 seasons. As we know that we humans are not the only owner of the inhabitants on the planet Earth. We share the same space with animals. So animals, in order to survive, they do have to have a harmonious and peaceful and the environment. That's the physical environment. And if we're not taking care of our ecology and pay attention to the change of the seasons and the earth itself, like temperature and so on and so forth. And we know that recently we had such a natural disaster taking place in Florida and South Carolina and North Carolina. All this suggests as human beings and in this country, as Americans, we do have to pay close attention to our very own home. And so therefore, yes, when you look at the outside of the world and think about change of the 4 seasons and those elements, remember each of us have the responsibility to taking care of our own home. And then we have the flower outside, and there's 4 elements and the 4 seasons, the symbol. And then we have flowers. And the reason we put a flower is as a gift, as a present, and to express our appreciations and our recognitions and our support to the leaders who are dedicated their life and their time to the world peace as well as the interest or well-being of the planet Earth. And we put there as a flower, and because we do need a courageous leader, a wise leader, and show the right path. So outside the flower, the ring of flower, we have 8 auspicious symbols. That's the kind of a classical Tibetan art form and represented the peace and represented the prosperity as well as the good intention. And there are 8 of them, and all of them are related to the great spiritual master, the founder of Buddhism, Buddha Shakyamuni, 2,500 years ago, and so there are stories according to Buddhist accounts and literature, and each of them was at one point was used by or offered to the Buddha and asked for blessings. And the Buddha asked the peacemaker as the teacher of the non-violence and love, kindness, compassion, and wisdom, and he blessed them. So therefore, this tradition being carried on, and so each of us, so we, like in Tibetan tradition, when we have formal the functions or any public events, and we will painting those 8 auspicious signs, symbols, and as a reminder and as our goal.
그래 타마티가 왜나 지금 같은 잠이 시대 용어였나 시대가 왔는데 지금 그건 켜봐 이제 손도 지자.
So last rain that is more or less is a symbol of the light, and the light here means the power, the force, and intentions and the knowledge which dispel the darkness of the ignorance.
근데 다 아주 너도 대신 너도 뜻이니 that is good thing 아주 지다 가지고 당기 이야기를 제시할 바디한 차진 요르네 단다 아니 샹초지야리 샹들이 지한 샹초지야디 주 못다 버찬지 근데 지금 샹초지야
we wish that at some point we can keep this beautiful, gorgeous, spectacular and art form and a piece of mandala and as a gift for the PVC community. But for various reasons, we cannot do that. So therefore, we will follow the traditional ritual, meaning that the dissolution, we're going to destroy it. And of course, for some of you, it's kind of touching, oh gosh, why you do that? Why not you keep it? And well, there's a profound reason for that. Yes, it is a nice thing you have it, you keep it. But most importantly, from Buddhist point of view, is that what you truly need to keep it attached to is the wisdom, and the wisdom that understands the impermanence.
뭔지 드링 나도 제마든 넘어서 중년년 제그레디 소소기니 지게 다 돈라이나다 기체서고 아니 사자든지 루루션은 실력도 같이 다니죠. 사야마 고도 사지 고도
At the end, after the dissolution, we're going to distribute the scents to the individuals if you like, and you're welcome and take a portion of it or a little bit from the sons. So I will have to warn you, and it's not you should not give the kids because they will think it's the sugar or sweet.
그렇지. 아니 당연히 조지 니바디 돌아야 디디식 나도 디디식 하면서 디디식이었어. 나치당에 시에데 다 샘플 카너다. 남도든지 칸데 세고르세 돈달라. 그래서 티다니 따치다 나비 건디션나 나치 건디션나 털로 먹고 싶던 요리스. 지다 곰라서 곰자라서 받들라더니 샘플 남도세야 되게 먹고 저리 좀 아주지 샴냐지 샴지 무슨 냠len 쳤나 아니 남도 먹고 세도 무슨 요리스. 디조조다 머리머리는 삼나다이나 아니 소소라 라라소지 남동로다 세마르키 바로다 뜻이 지나 저나 간지 조이나 유견을 삼았다 기치 못 삼았어 아니 좀더 규트 삼았다 아니 이 규를 삼았더니 소소 단다 남도 조저 유견 조이 조이로 다 여되네 뜻이다 규트 다 뭐야 지금나 삼지는 분동도 규트 다는 요마 세비는 분동 무도선 삼았다 같이 규트 지기 요가 지금 다 다리 차차 다른 지금 내는 다리 차차 지만 이렇게 지금 소소는 생각을 쉬는 게 아니라 같이 지금 제가 요 있는 소소니까 지금단 아무튼 제가 내가 한번 살 지금
Now I would like to move on to the main topic and topic for the end of this program, that is about how to overcome the stress. How to overcome the stress. Before I translate, and so those of you, it will take another probably 20 minutes or so. Please come and sit on the floor if you like, and make yourself comfortable. Okay, make yourself comfortable. All right. Yes. Yeah. Come in. people drink water for pleasure, for fun. I drink water because I am stressed. Before I translate about how to overcome the stress. Okay. So the topic of the stress, how to overcome the stress. So obviously we all know what the stress is and what the stress do to us. And obviously we always almost like in every occasion, and what we try to do is to deal with. Most of the time we deal with how to overcome stress. Right? So here's the thing. In Buddhist tradition, the ultimate solution to overcome the stress is to practice meditation. Right? Practice meditation. Meaning that you need to adopt the technique, the psychological, the methodology, the technique, and to make your mind calm abiding, right? And not only have the stability, make your mind is stable, but on top of that, make sure your mind also endured with clarity. Right? Stability plus clarity. Right? That's the Buddhist principle and the path or the method, the way to help each individual to overcome the stress. Right? And equally as important to that is you understand what do you mean by I am stressed, I am not happy, or this is not good to me or for me. Whenever you feel that I, which is crying out, say I am stressed, you have to be immediately analytically questioning, examining what do you mean by I, that very I, okay, who is feel stressed, right? So, because in Buddhism, and by the principle of the law of the cause and effect, that's a karma, anything as a result of your action, when you feel something is no good, you must find out the causes. See whether what kind of causes, is there any way you can fix it? Right? When you track down and when you analyze the causes of the stress, right? And you most likely you will find you will understand, you will find a way. Then the stress will naturally disappear, right? Will overcome. But there are also exceptions. You find a reason, right? But the reason is way bigger and more powerful than your individual's capacity. You cannot overcome that causes. Then you need to move on to apply another Buddhist principle, that is, if there's a way you can overcome the problem, what you worried about, okay? If there is no way and you cannot overcome the problem, what's the use of the worry? So that's what that's what briefly speaking, and by principle, and you can overcome the problems with the stress.
아니 담보 소소를 상관되는 소소를 대화 부분도 왔어. dum을도 부분도 왔어. 다 소소를 대화 보안하는 소소를 초여 받는 샴바 집어라 상관다. 근데 나라 대화 보안은 콜라 대화 보래. 매 dum을 만도 그거 dum을도 말만 집어라 초여 받 집어. 대인 소자는 매 콜라 측측보다는 매 콜라 지금 말하면 내가 지체바이나 그 강을 말 그지가 말했어. 매기가 딱 가는데 콜라 샴바 집 나라 된데라면 가는도 왔어. 대니 집어 들니 jalan loba doda jalan loba ji tuzu ji le songena oni tele zazu kakedo cheda chidan ji kumo de nimari ji samotna yagoyores shoki ngo na so de tiri nimatelange ani ji suru tugina loba mekia pentona da yarore gati pemato ne loba tina me ji tsitsubo de tsina ba pejeta masam kumo de yoba yina nimi kona ji de tuzu de so no so de tani yes mar jaya chabe 근데 본다에나 야소지 니마치 본다에나 소지 니마치 고데 잠바치 이나나 소지 농주조 어디 좀 두스나 딱제치네 랑 농주이나 딱 소지 농교치 교슴지 차도지 니 지만데 되면 상나 타이나 덴지 로콤시 야기 소이나 냐섬 그치 디티 용어도 시디 용어도 넘도 시알 그버시라야 사리스.
Another methodology or the way, if we will, if we're willing, and can help us to overcome the stress as well. That is more or less like in the West, we all know can be called the golden rule. Golden rule, meaning in Buddhism called the exchange self with other, exchange self other, meaning that whenever you feel stressed, okay, and when you find the reason and the causes, and then you think, oh, I'm not alone, right? And at the same time, also think that just like myself, I do not want to unhappy, stressed, right? And so do all others, infinite number of beings out there. They are share the same stress. So therefore, when you truly switch, right, the focus from yourself, individual self, and to others. Think about others are suffering. So how may I can help them to overcome the stress at that point, right? And you will find inspired, you will find the courage, and you find the reason, and yourself, individual self, the stress you experience is becoming such the insignificant and such a small, even not a big deal at all, right? And so to do that, takes a lot of training. But we can start with the training with a very, very small thing. That is, when you wake up in the morning, right, first thing you think is, oh, I woke up, I'm still alive. Today, I'm going to try my best to help others. Right? Do anything. Right? It doesn't matter how small it is. I'm going to help others. If I cannot do anything to help others, I at least will try my best not to hurt anyone. Right? So you do set up this motivation at the morning, right? First in the morning. And then when you go to bed, right, before you fell asleep, and the exam, how you did it, how you made it throughout the day. If you find that you did a good job, right, and then congratulate yourself and rejoice what you have done, right, and give yourself full credit and complete recognition, be happy what you have done. And if you find that somehow because of being mindless, or because of the strong aversion and other afflictive emotions, and you failed the task, okay, and you did something harmful, then not to feel guilty, okay, but have the mind say, I did this, okay, but I promise myself tomorrow I will not do that again.
어디를 다 근데 지금 다 조조 소소 딱제제나 그래서 참 두사디 다 니모와 나나나 세트 나도 가도 다 니모와 뭐 보존 다 저셔데 팀 자거나 당장 나나 세트 두도리스 대소 전에 소소 지금 자 진짜 칸도 전혀 다야다 janla pensa que a mamaina já chupa de que de yongres ani tá tendo isso bem com judians.
Okay, because of time, I'm going to just say a couple of words and then close my today's the main topic, how to overcome the stress. So after all, just remember that we're going to we have the great potentials, right? And each of us has a responsibility. We are responsible for ourselves as well as others, and so we needed to constantly, this is a Buddhist idea, okay, be analytical, be mindful, right, and then be investigative, meaning just constantly pay attention to the causes, the action, and see the action will lead to what kind of consequences, right? And if your action leads you to the positive outcome, and without hesitation jumping in, execute it. If you feel that you have doubt about your action or produce some kind of negative consequences, then use your own logic, okay, your own reasoning, your wisdom, and prevent it, stop it from further action. So that's what is probably the simplest way, and I hope it's useful and to help you how to overcome the stress.
이게 도대체 아니 땅에 다리 내가 먼저 가로 봐. Yeah, yeah.
Do we have a time, Mary? Like a question and answer? Take a couple questions? Yeah? Okay.
I'm sure there's lots of questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to give the audience the opportunity in case you have any question. Any question, please ask.
Can you tell them what type of sand it is,
Oh.
that it's the actual ceramic?
시마티 먼저디 시마 마치어서 자가는 키워를 도좀 줘라 도 가오지或者 디 텔라야니 저도 촌 계셔 하나 생겨서 이니 다 묘시증 같은데 제가 용을 전에 마다 지는 되는 순간 되는 요한도 이런 얘기를 마치 자가는 키워를
The sand originally they come from India. So the way we did it is purchased. This come from basically from a special type of a rock. It's kind of white and originally in color. And so we smash it and made it powder, and then monks dyed it into the different colors. So everything is the original scientists come from India with us, but occasionally and if we feel there's a shortage of the sand and a particular portion of it, and then we will purchase it locally if it's possible.
What is the significance of the sand? I was just wondering what the significance of the sand is. Like, is it to connect to something? Is there a reason that we're using, that they're using sand as like a main component for this?
시마 지금 믹서기는 같이 그런 지단 가서 dimsum 찍고 있어요. 우리 잔다 진짜 이거 잔다는 문제가 좀 진이 요리 아주 신경 쓰는 그런 나서 장이라 걔가 믹서기 시마 찍고 있어요. 제가 시마도 가서 찍다 되었다. 그 되게 기브자 같은 신의 심지어는 그렇게 이렇게 나와. 그래서 저는 뭐 스테이션
So the way to create the mandalas, such as like the one we see, it's not necessarily always use the sand. The sand is just one way to make this kind of sacred arts, and we also do the painting, and even we make the three-dimensional, the 3D model and the mandala, and we also do the in Tibetan the arts form called tanga. Right. And so we use the sand I don't know why originally they use the sand. I personally believe probably is easier.
Are there any Buddhist resources in Charlottesville for someone that would like to learn more about Buddhism?
Well, good question, but since we are travel around, so we pass by, and I really don't have the right answer for you, and so I volunteered and said, how about you let me answer this question? I'm kind of local, so I've been living in Charlottesville almost 24 years, 25 years. Okay, yes, to study Buddhism, of course, PVCC is the institution. It's the best place, the right place. In a sense, probably it's better than UVA. I promote this, okay? So they're easier because you guys can easily come in, okay? And lots of you can take the course for free or with a tremendous resources like a scholarship. Correct, Edu? Yeah. So therefore, it's better than UVA. Although I'm a UVA, I work UVA. I hope no UVA person here. Yeah. So yes, and UVA, and I mean PVCC is has rich classes and not see the world, religion of the world covers Buddhism, right? And Eastern religion, which I teach, also covers Buddhism. And locally, there are several Buddhist groups and centers, like Blue Ridge Mountain Dharma is one of them. And then Jefferson Tibetan Society is another group, a Buddhist meditation center. And then we have a Teaching Trilling, which is another group, also the Dharma Center, they call the Buddhist Center, Meditation Center. If you Google, right, and Buddhist meditation, Charlottesville, Virginia, ta-da, you will see a lot of them. Did I answer your question?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's Blue Mountain Dharma.
Blue Mountain Dharma. Yeah? Okay, maybe one more, yeah.
So I think a big practice in Buddhism is detachment, and a lot of our problems will come from us not being able to see them objectively, like you were talking about in relation to stress. Is there a particular meditation technique that would help us separate ourselves from our problems and our emotions that come with them?
지단은 도착이 니고 걸어 놓고 보내다 최근에 니고 놓고 보내 지찬이 니고 지선다 다음에 보고 들어와 만자리 이는 도착으로 니고 가리고 물도 버려야 되는 거예요. 다 소수에는 도착 가라 세바는 거 누구 간식은 도착에 되게 견자를 삼았다 내려 되게 아니 견자데 때려 니보면 봐 그나 땅을 배선들으서는 아니 지금 맞아요. 손이 가서 다 공무원 다 들어 있고 있나 되게 지금 소수 주고 주차를 찾아다는 거 같은 게 봐. 안티마이 뭐 보시라는 도서께는 뭐 보텔에 지금 맞다고 그러지 봐. 콜은 님보면 봐. 지금 그러지 봐. 근데 상호들이 견자셔라마 부도 상호다이나 이건 도서 보고도 냠냠
Okay. The direct methodology is to find the negativities of the things, events, or person, anything you see as beautiful and has great value. Look at the flip side of that very objects. And so our problem is this: when we feel frustrated, right, and feel angry, and feel lost, and feel depressed, it's because we feel defeated. We feel that we failed to achieve our goal. And so at that very point, you have to think about why you are so attached to that very object. It's because out of attachment, desire, you exaggerated the status of that very object. For example, like the relation between the opposite gender, for example, right? As a Buddhist, this probably may not be relevant and useful for you. As a Buddhist monk, what are we trained to overcome for instance, like sexual desire? Right? We know it is something so wonderful or is great, but we also understand the flip side of that very experience. So therefore, instead of exaggerating, so this is everything, well, is also look at the wait a moment. Is there something behind of that very beauty or value or things that make you feel very excited? When you look at the flip side of it, then you will have a balanced view. You will see both sides of the same coin, even the rain, cover the rain. Meaning you have a holistic view, so that will calm you down. calming you down, and naturally you will find the way, and according to the actual status of the objects. So that's how, in the monastery, in the context of monastery, that's how we do. Yeah.
I just had one question about just how long does it take to learn how to make a stand mandala like this?
讲下来，那么是要再去唱出怎么样的好处。
老师接了大，这个我做这那 group 的做前的我们的罗尼是这样的，前的你几个嘛的，这个几个人什么什么会，前的做大嘛就早有这个什么这个呢，第一个给你的时间，第就是呢。
It approximately take 2 years, right? And it depends also the how complex the objects or the mandala you're going to create it. And also the makers of such a sacred objects, we were required to memorize the text, right? Memorize the how to draw the line, right? The cut through and the textures and how to and coloring them, and also accurately executed each symbol on the right spot. So that takes much longer. I guess that's maybe last question.
You talked about stress and like you talked about like you shouldn't stress about a situation if you can't do anything about it. How do you deal with the stress of not knowing if you can deal with a situation or not?
这是的，这就我说了，那是的，我就三把按照这边的举荐才做的吧。你看这举荐嘛，才我这按照这里用过，这个是。举荐嘛，举荐我嘛是吧？这嘛叫啥子吧？那你弄虚了吧？按照的空地方看出的那的蛤蟆空的。
他这里join那个举荐看嘛，什么地方这里join嘛，说是这个没把想法了，你他定的这种是那个工作叫，这里也不是那么我觉得大几个人。第一个三把电视也接了，别这个什么地方的长把电视弄弄样的是，但这个同的讲的真的也谈的是。
So the direct translation is cheat your mind. Cheat your mind, meaning that you kind of find a reason. Okay, you don't know why. You feel stressed, right? You feel low or down or not happy. Then at that point, right, and turn your attention to something else. Right? And this is about meditation. Right? Focus on something and to redirect your attention to that neutral object. Okay. When you neutrally be able to settle down, right, and calm your mind onto that very neutral object, and then you probably figure out why the reason caused you and unhappy or stressed. Right? So that's probably it. Thank you very much.
아니, 단단히 그 랩터 신청 이 주시 때
Now the last program, and so I would like to take this opportunity to present a little gift as our great attitude and to PBCC, and I would like to request Dean Dr. Tucker come and Dr. come to. This is for PBCC, and thank you very much for throughout these 4 days and the donations you've been giving and your support and everything. And so each of the donation dollar you give to us is going to the monastery, Geshe Chodan Monastery, and where we have over 2,000 monks, and the money will going to support their education and monastical trainings. Mary. That for PVCC?
This is
No, that's for PVCC. Yeah. That's for you. So you know the. Wow, in you are loaded. Yeah, very much.
I'll never take it all. Now I'll be a principal.
So he probably somewhere here.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. 20, maybe 20. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Professor Swanson. Thank you very much. About the travel. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can Dr. Tucker, can we come in and take a picture? Group. Good second.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, like orientation. Who are we looking?
Yeah, who is looking?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Maybe we'll all look at Maggie. Yes. Yeah.
All right, 3, 2,
The Mandala.
1.
Yeah, that's better.
All right, 3, 2, 1, now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.